Ohio State improves to 11-0 on the season after a 42-9 win over Rutgers to close out the home portion of its regular season schedule. If things go according to plan, this will be the last time we're standing in this building until, I don't know, the middle of the spring next year, right? I'm Stephen, that's Stefan, and that's Andrew. And as we do every single week, we grade the quarterback, Julian Sayin, who was playing without his top two weapons, Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, this week. 13 of 19 for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lincoln Keno's also was like a normal part of what they were doing today. He was 1 for 3 for a 19-yard completion. Stefan, great QB1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't really know. They ran it 36 times today, so I'll give Julian Sayin a B, right? I think he didn't have his best receivers. He was still, completing close to 70%. It was fine. I think he did what he was asked to do. What I will say though is I'm gonna talk about not Julian Sayin, but kind of apply it to Julian Sayin because I wrote about this at the buzzer. That was not particularly appealing to watch, right? And Ohio State at times has not won in the most aesthetically pleasing ways, even when Jeremiah and Carnell have been out there, right? There's except like the Penn State game, they aired it out. It looked good. Wisconsin, they aired it out, right? But there's also been the Illinois game, the win against Purdue, last week against UCLA, where like it hasn't, like, even the win against Ohio, it hasn't always looked the best, right? They're tweaking things, they're working on the run game, it's this and that. I know Ohio State fans don't want to hear this, but bear with me.
They can run the ball next week.
Ohio State can win games ugly if they need to. I think what we saw against Texas, it was very much like Julian Sayin is making his first career start, don't put too much on his plate. But I think they can still win games like that. And I'm not saying that they should go into a game, especially like Michigan game. I'm not saying go into it like planning to win 14-10. No, you plan to put your foot on the pedal, be at your best, especially if those two guys are healthy on the perimeter. But if you get into the game and the defense has slowed you down, whether it's Michigan, Indiana, Georgia, whoever you might see in the playoff, right? If they're doing things to make life difficult on offense, and you're going through that game saying, hey, we're not going to give up more than 10 points, let's not make a mistake, I think they can win like that, right? So I think that's a very important distinction. Don't plan on it. Don't plan on running the ball up the middle a million times against Michigan because it could backfire on you, and when you need to turn it up, you can't turn it up. Go in there planning to turn it up, and if it's 21-7, and that's where I think you can kind of adjust, right? I'm not saying put your foot off the pedal, but if things are getting a little sloppy, a little sluggish on offense, and you're worried that you can't maintain that level that you were at, then I think they can kind of take a smart approach. And I don't think we would have said that early on in Ryan Day's career. Like, I think back to obviously the way they lost to Georgia in 2022, where you scored 41 points and you lost, right? I don't think they need to go in saying, hey, we have to score 40 points. There's times where if I had said, hey, you can score 21, you're going to win, if you're an Ohio State fan, you're saying, I don't think that's going to happen, at least under the early years of Ryan Day. I think where you are now, you go in saying, hey, we're going to score 45 points on this team, and if you get to the third quarter and they're doing a decent job defending you on the perimeter and you're up, 21-7, like I said earlier, it's 21-10, I think that's where you can kind of be strategic and say, hey, let's play mistake-free football. And I know that's scary to hear, but I just think that's how good this defense is. So all that to say, I thought Julian Sayin played fine today, but I wouldn't freak out necessarily if a game like that happens in the playoff, because I think Ohio State can still win in that style if they have to. And I think when your best two weapons aren't out there, it's fine to win like that. They scored 42 anyways. We can say that Rutgers is not a good team, right? They ran it 36 times and ran it really effectively against a Rutgers team. It could be a better defense. They could have played like that. Julian can have that type of stat line, and they can win a playoff game 24-10 and be just fine. So, Julian Sayin B.
Yeah, that was a lot. I'm at B-, kind of the same reasoning. I made this kind of point in the press box. I think today gets a lot hairier than 42-9 if Will Howard or Kyle McCord is behind center. And one of the things, and I want to credit Julian Sayin in that, because there were some throws that he made, like that throw to the back corner of the end zone with Brandon Ennis, dropped it in a bucket. That had to be at that exact point of the corner of the end zone, or best case maybe it's a DPI. It was not. It could not have been thrown any better, and it really had to be thrown in that type of way, or else it wasn't going to be a touchdown. There were also throws that he made. There was a cross to Ennis where I looked at you guys and I went, man, these guys are not getting open. And yes, you don't have Jeremiah. Yes, you don't have Carnell today. but there was just not a lot of separation that you saw from David Adolph, from Brandon Innes, from Bryson Rogers, from Mylan Graham when he was in the game. Like, you didn't see a lot. And Julian had to kind of fire it in the right spot. And I told you guys too, like, if you throw, like, there was that throw to Innes on the crosser, if he's a yard behind him, it's a pick. You know, if he doesn't put that in the right spot, it's probably an incomplete pass at best at that point. So I credit Julian with his accuracy today. I think it's, once again, you are grading him on a curve. Now, if there's any, like, Penn State fans watching this or something like that, or they're probably looking at this going like, this is Brandon Innes would be our best receiver. What are you talking about? So I understand that, but I think you're right, Stefan. I think the game plan today called for, let's get in, let's get out, let's try to stay as healthy as we can, let's hope this clock runs quickly, let's hope we can just leave here healthy with a win, with a little bit of momentum, feeling okay about ourselves. And I think they did that. So I don't think they gave him a ton. I'm not going to, fawn over Julian Sayin's performance today, considering the opponent, considering I don't think he was 100% on, but I thought he was good enough. I thought he was solid, especially then you bake into the fact that he doesn't have his two usual receivers. B-. I thought it was good enough. Uh-oh.
I just love how the whole point of this segment is grading Julian Sayin, and both of you did everything but talk about Julian Sayin.
Yeah.
That's why it's funny.
I go back to what I said at the start.
I think there was a little more like, I don't know.
Did either of you see anything negative about what he did today?
They took him off the field for Lincoln Kienholz and then threw the ball.
Okay, yeah, that's a fair point. We were talking about that up in the booth. I don't. If you're gonna do the Lincoln Kienholz package, then you have to show. You can't say for multiple weeks in a row that you can do things with him because you can throw it, and then never throw it. I think if they were gonna do it, they had to show it this week. Yeah. I don't think they should do it. No. You don't think they should do it, and that's where we agree on that. What we don't agree on is like why he threw the ball. Because okay, they're doing it. So, but also it's Rutgers. Does anybody think like Lincoln Kienholz is gonna? He threw 3 passes. Do we think he's gonna throw 3 passes against Michigan, barring Julian Sayin get abducted by aliens?
That's what I was going to say. There's a very famous NFL quote about Peyton Manning and Jim Sorgi, and they said, we don't give Jim Sorgi reps, and I'm paraphrasing, because if 18 goes down, we're in trouble.
Right. So it's one of the
Ohio State's in trouble.
Like Ohio State's been tinkering and doing substitutions all year. They just did it at quarterback this time around, and so we were all like, why are you doing this? And then Lincoln Kienholz ran all over the place. It was fun. It was a weird game. I'm giving him a B. I'm laughing because I'm going to do the same thing you two did and not talk about why I gave him a B. I'm concerned about Ohio State's receivers, and I cannot for the life of me remember the last time I'm concerned about the receiver. Those 5 words came out of anybody's mouth when talking about Ohio State's wide receivers. That was not good today by these wide receivers. This is home of they're open by 5 yards all the time. This is home of Justin Fields shouldn't be a first-round draft pick. Why? Because he was throwing to receivers who were 5 yards open every single play. That's not good quarterback play. Oh, C.J. Stroud, he's not a good quarterback. It's just Garrett Wilson and Jack Smith-Njigba and Chris Olave are just 5 yards open every single play. Oh, Kyle McCord, no good. It's just Marv. Oh, Will Howard, no good. It's just J.J. and Emeka and Carnell. Oh, Julian, no good. It's just Jeremiah and Carnell. And while there's a level of truth to that, Joe Burrow in 2019, I don't know, his 2 receivers are the best 2 receivers on the planet right now that year. You think that had something to do with the year he had? So, yeah, fair point. Quarterback he's an elite quarterback, but also he's got elite receivers. But that's what you do. You get good players and you pair them with good players and you go win football games. I felt like today they dropped from best I've possibly ever seen at Ohio State ever to, I mean, you just made the joke about Penn State. Is that? I don't know. Like how many we've done multiple videos now about what's the best position group on the roster, and you two in multiple videos keep looking at me like I'm crazy for not just falling in line and saying it's the wide receivers, and you keep pointing to recruiting websites. I mean, all year long, they kept showing us that they're not playing depth at receiver while they play depth. They have played depth at literally every other position. They just rotated quarterbacks, like kind of. Not really, but like they rotate everywhere. But at the one position, you two keep telling me has more talent than everybody else. So where's that talent at? Why didn't it show up when you had the opportunity? And maybe this is harsh to say, and maybe I'm taking too much of the blame off of Julian because, I mean, he played fine, right? He played like he wasn't playing with two rock star receivers. But I don't know. I've seen Garrett Wilson miss a game and Marvin Harrison Jr. step right in, and it's like, okay. I've seen Emeka Egbuka miss some games and Cardinal State steps in and everything is okay. Brandon Inniss, even last year, he showed up in big moments here. What's the best thing during this 3-game stretch where Cardinal State has not played? It was the JJ show against Purdue. JJ played 22 snaps against UCLA, and he did not play against Rutgers. What's the best thing we saw a wide receiver do?
You got to think about it.
Bryson Rogers catch a touchdown against UCLA.
Okay, that's not where the wide receivers are supposed to live, and it's not a problem for this year. I have no reason to believe that Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal Tate aren't going to play next week. Are they fully healthy? Probably not, but nobody's fully healthy at this point. They've played football season, but there's no reason to think they won't play. This is about a projection to the future because this is the only time I'm going to talk about Rutgers. We're talking about Michigan and everything else we do. This was a 3-week stretch to see Mylan Graham, 5-star recruit, Bryson Rogers, highly rated recruit, Quincy Porter, highly rated recruit, 5-star recruit, Phillip Bell, highly rated recruit. This was their moment this year, the back half of either their first or second year where you should start to see some consistency, show us why we should be excited about what's coming next, and we did not see that. Unfortunately, over the last 3 weeks. We saw fine, but the standard at receiver here isn't fine. It's you are somebody's wide receiver one day. And it's been a long time since we haven't lived in that world. Emeka got drafted, Stefan, and we talked about like, hey, when's the next time they don't have a first-round draft pick? And we were listing off like year after year after year after year. That wasn't great. And it doesn't matter as long as Cardinal Tate and Jeremiah Smith are back on the field next Saturday, but it does matter if they're needed in a moment, because I do not think yet they have shown anything that lets you know that they are 100% going to show up in that moment. I think it's going to be an interesting offseason when we get there.
Yeah, because we saw, like, against Penn State, Brandon Inniss caught a touchdown. Right. In the national championship game, Brandon Inniss caught a third down for a first down. Like, if it's 3rd and 6 in a national championship game against Oregon this year, I don't think we see Bryson Rogers or Mylan Graham on the field. And that was different last year.
I just thought,
and that was Brandon Inniss. Like, we're not talking about Marv coming off the bench for an injured player. We're talking about Brandon Inniss coming in.
There is a difference between a guy's not playing because the guys ahead of him are just that damn good versus you're not playing because you're not at the same level as them, right? And I felt like for year after year after year, it's been the former. This was the first time I felt like I looked at Ohio State's wide receiver room and the guys who weren't starters, and I thought it was the latter. And it's unfortunate we didn't get to see Quincy Porter because he's been on and off the availability report. So maybe we'd feel a little differently about this. But I do think it's going to be an interesting offseason. But first, they have potentially 5 more games to get through this year. So that's what's more important because Michigan week has officially arrived, which means we're done talking about Rutgers. On the pod, in the text, in another video we're going to do, we're probably going to go 25 minutes as well. Nobody cares. They 42-9. They did what they were supposed to do. They got through the game. Nobody extra got hurt. They worked on some stuff, and now the postseason is here for Ohio State. 614-350-3315, 2-week free trial, $3.99. After that was grading Julian Sayin.
Was it?
While we talked about everything but a quarterback who was just fine. Like, okay.
Yeah.
He existed. I don't know what his job description was today, but whatever it was, I think he did that, right?
Hand it off.
Yeah, it's just kind of, it was like, don't get hurt, Julian. That was your job today. Stephen, Stefan, Andrew, talk to you guys later.